Howdy YouTube, this is Steven, and I'm back with another lyrical analysis. This time, I'll be analyzing the song Let Me Give You My Love by Utada Hikaru. And the song Let Me Give You My Love is from Utada Hikaru's album Exodus. And it wasn't a single, it doesn't have a music video. But I think the song deals with a fairly interesting topic. Therefore, I would like to do a lyrical analysis of the song. So here I go. All right. What a day. Young boy next door passed away. That's sad. A young boy passed away. I wonder what happened in that situation. You know, I hope it wasn't because of like any sort of violence or anything like that. Let's see. Next lyrics. Oh, it makes me want to say, I don't want to waste another day. All right. So here, Utada, she like, that situation over there made her like reprioritize her life. And now she's like, I want to live my life to the fullest. And that's good that you can get something like that from someone else's death. Because some people see it and they're just like, oh, whatever. But at least Utada Hikaru, she's, trying to get something positive from it. All right. Next lyrics. Can you and I start mixing gene pools? Mixing gene pools. All right, so now she wants to like mix gene pools with somebody up in here, and I'm guessing she's trying to have a baby or something. All right, so it sounds like Utada want to have a kid. She wants to become a mother, and I think that's a good step. I think that's something good that she should try. At least at this point, I mean, she's in her hiatus, her perpetual hiatus. And I think if she had a kid, if she had a kid, I wonder if she would come back to the industry because that would be a lot to deal with, being a mom and being in the industry. But, women have done it. Next lyrics. Eastern, Western people get naughty, multilingual. All right, so now she's talking about like Eastern people and Western people like get naughty, multilingual. So she like saying like, the East and the West, like they're meeting and becoming one. And they're becoming multilingual as well because they got to learn how to communicate with each other. All right, so at this point, it sounds like, basically Utada Hikaru is like, she's heard that the young boy next door passed away, and now she like, I gotta live my life to the fullest and get my swirl on, basically. That's a little odd, but all right, do your thing, Utada Hikaru. Do your thing. I won't be the one, holding you back or hating or anything like that. Go ahead and get your swirl on. But I just think it's a bit odd to, get that from death. But I guess that's just a part of her living her life to the fullest. Next lyrics. I was like soul searching. Well, I was sort of like soul searching, but your body's so jaw dropping. So she was soul searching, but then she saw some dude's body, and she was like, it's a hot body. All right, all right. Our chemistry's groundbreaking. So what they have together is just really, really, I don't know, how is it groundbreaking? I guess it's breaking new ground. At this point, I think that, all relationships have been done pretty much at this point in society. I know some relationships are not as popular as others, but I guess some relationships can be groundbreaking. I guess because it's an interracial relationship, it is sort of groundbreaking. Because I do sort of feel that it's like people still look at interracial relationships as sort of like somewhat surprising. I know I kind of have looked at it as somewhat surprising to see two people of different races together. Um, and as well, the offspring of those relationships and marriages and things like that, people look at them as somewhat surprising and somewhat as alien because they're just not used to seeing the relationship and the result of the relationship. If you understand what I'm saying, like, you're seeing people and you're looking at them weird because you know that I guess their look is not here and it's not there. It's just sort of like in the middle and ambiguous. So, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is that can be still groundbreaking in this day and age because, you know, interracial relationships are talk like they're not totally foreign because it's been going on for centuries at least, if not longer. But it's still sort of like somewhat taboo or somewhat controversial still in racial relationships. And I think that's just because of the history, at least in the country where I live in the United States. I think that's oftentimes because of the history that's associated with different, races of people. All right, next lyrics. Don't keep me waiting. So she's telling homeboy, don't keep me waiting because, Utada Hikaru, she got options. So you better make sure you play your cards right. All right, this is the chorus. Here we go. Hurry up, baby, let me give you my love. Hurry up, let's turn this room into a melting pot. Okay. So she want to give homeboy her love. Okay. And she wants to turn, I guess their boudoir into a melting pot. And so, mixing different, I guess, genes and cultures and, mixing that together into a melting pot. All right. So it sounds like Utada wants to, again, get her swirl on and, create a mixed race child. I wonder what race she getting her swirl on with, though. Of course, in the United States at least, Asian women are often stereotyped as getting their swirl on with Caucasian men, to the point where I think probably half of Asian women, just statistically speaking, are in interracial relationships. And I think probably a lot of those relationships involve Caucasian men and Asian females or Asian women. And I think that's probably an issue that affects Asian men. Asian men probably have something to say about that. But oddly, I think that relationship is probably one of the more accepted relationships. And I think really is because of the obvious, unfortunately. The United States is like a society where it's like very I think I'll just skip over that part what I'm about to say for the time being. All right, keeping it moving. Let's see. Giddy up, baby. So I guess she's riding her man like a horse, so to speak. All right, so Utada, she likes to ride her men. I'll tell you, Utada Hikaru, she gets hers. She is the woman who gets it in. She gets hers. Let me give you my love. Buckle up, boy. I know you gonna like what I got. So, Utada, she ain't like she know what she got, and she just letting the homeboy know that he gonna like it. She isn't humble about it. Next lyrics. Maybe it's not worth the wait. Okay, she having some second thoughts about getting her swirl on here. Maybe I should walk away. So it sounds like maybe some issues have come up. Maybe she getting judgment from the community, and that can be a bit difficult to deal with. as well as harassment from the community sometimes too. I don't want to waste my energy. Huh. Can you and I stop acting like fools? You know, you guys just need to have a sit down conversation and just talk it out and, really have a long conversation about what you guys are getting into. Or move on to other people. So, can they stop acting like fools or move on to other people? I think, I don't know. They could do either one. Either choice is an option. Is it worth, is it worth the drama? If not, move on to other people. People in your own race. It's funny, but I like to settle. And that's something that didn't think I would hear from Utada Hikaru. But she's saying she would like to settle. And I'm assuming she means like settle down. And for me, I think like Utada Hikaru, she's sort of like a free spirit, so to speak. And, she, like, I feel like that Utada Hikaru, I think that she would date you, no matter what race you are. Maybe even no matter what body type you are as well. I think that she would be open to dating you. Not like in a negative way, where it's like, oh, she doesn't have any standards or anything. But I think she's just open to, men in general. There ain't nothing wrong with that. For a woman to be open to men in general. All right. Next lyrics are already done, so I'm going to skip those. It's the pre-chorus, and they do the chorus next, and I've already done that. So here's the bridge. Let me know if what I'm feeling isn't mutual. All I know is that I'm feeling very, very hot, hot, hot. So she wants to know, like, she's like, homeboy, let me know. Are you feeling the same way I'm feeling? All she want to know is, or all that she knows is that she's feeling very hot and bothered by homeboy. So she wants to know, is he feeling hot and bothered by her? And those are all the lyrics to this song, all the original lyrics. The rest just repeats the chorus. But I do want to speak on the subject, since we're on the subject of interracial relationships. All right. I already mentioned that I feel like I could see Utada Hikaru with a man of just about any race. However, I'm going to speak on some other folk, other J-pop divas, or just Asian pop divas in general. And what I see them with, are the type of men that I see them with in regards to race. All right. First up is Ayumi Hamasaki, y'all. I think we all know who we can see her with, or at least I do. I think I do. You guys may not feel the same way I do. So let me just put it out there. I pretty much picture Ayumi Hamasaki with a Caucasian man, probably from Europe. I just see that for some reason. To the point where I think she would even almost ignore Japanese men. And again, this is no shade to Ayumi Hamasaki. No shade intended at all. But I think she may be with a Japanese man at this point. I'm not sure. I heard that she's in a relationship or married to a medical student, and I'm not sure if he's Japanese. I'm not sure what race he is. But then again, some people are like, hey, should it matter? And that's a good question. Should it matter? Should it? It depends. To keep it real, I think it depends, though. Because ultimately, I do think people have the right to do that. There are no laws against it. There is no scripture, in any sort of, holy document that prevents it. Although some people have sort of like interpreted some scripture to mean that they're like interracial relationships are wrong. And I know one of them is like in the Bible, I think it says something like, you are not supposed to mix tribes and people may interpret that as like mixing different races and cultures and groups of people. But I think it was originally meant to mean that you don't mix believers and non-believers in relationships. You know, you don't have relationships as a Christian with a non-believer of Christianity. And I think that's what it means. um, but back to the subject. Um, yeah, I see Ayumi Hamasaki with a Caucasian male, from Europe. And, the reason I say that is just because I think Ayumi Hamasaki is, very European influenced. You know, um, the blonde hair. Um, she kind of makes videos in the UK a lot, things like that. But it's not a slight against her. Ultimately, it's not a slight against her because she likes who she likes. And ultimately, it's nothing wrong with that. But I think some people may have some animosity because they're like, hey, you're a Japanese woman and you need to be with a Japanese man because you know how people do. Like, you need to be with your own people. And I think the Japanese as a society are kind of strict on interracial relationships, where it's like they want people to stay within the race or within the culture. Okay. Next up on the list is Anamie Amuro. And of the people that I've mentioned will mention, I think that she probably would be one of the people who are least likely to date outside of the Japanese race. I think she's probably, Namie is very Japanese at heart. However, if she were to date outside of her race, I think she would wind up dating a guy who's mixed with possibly Japanese. Like, he may probably be like Japanese and Caucasian. Or probably maybe even like Japanese and African. But again, if she does date outside of her race, I think the guy would have to be probably at least somewhat connected to Japanese culture or Japanese people through biology. So, I think I think she would date at most the guy who's mixed. And the mixture may just need to be Asian just in general. I'm not sure though, but I'm assuming it's going to be Japanese. The mix is going to include Japanese though, if she does date outside of her race. Which, she may not. I kind of leaning towards she may not though. All right, next up on the list is Kodakumi. Now, Kodakumi is already married to a Japanese man, as far as I know. However, I could see her getting her swirl on and having like sexual relationships with dudes of different races. No shade intended. I'm just saying. So basically, I think with Kodakumi, I think like she'll date different other races, but I think that she'll ultimately, marry and start a family with a Japanese man, which she did. Again, this is just my personal views and opinions. Like, I don't know if this is true or not. This is just how I see things going down. All right. Last up on the list is Boa. She's not Japanese. She's Korean. However, I see Boa with a nice, wholesome, upstanding Korean man. I don't really see Boa dating outside of the, Asian race or even dating outside of Korean men. However, she may do that. I just don't see it. I know a lot of people kind of criticize Boa and think that she's trying to be Japanese and stuff like that. But I think at the end of the day, I think that she'll marry a Korean man, and start a family with a Korean man. All right. And I guess I'll speak on Utada Hikaru again. I think she's sort of similar to Kodakumi, where she'll dibble and dabble with other races of men. But I think that it could kind of go either way with Utada Hikaru. I think that she may marry someone outside of her race, or she may not. it may go either way. All right. All right, and now I'll just speak of some interracial relationship stuff in general. For a quick minute. A lot of people have a lot of people have issues with interracial relationships, and they have issues with it for, sometimes it's legitimate reasons, sometimes it's not legitimate reasons. Some people argue that, what are we going to do with the offspring of, the interracial relationships? How are you going to raise them? Are you going to raise them this race, or, no race at all? And that is an issue. That is an issue. Because I don't know about where you live, but in a society where I live, in the United States, it's a very racialized society. Unfortunately, race is still a factor. Another argument that I've heard is that, it's kind of like, well, what about the people, you should marry someone within your race so that it's just easier, you don't have to worry about drama. And that's true, you don't. But I think sometimes people, the world is so diverse. Like, what would it be like if we all just stuck within our same race? We wouldn't have like a lot of people, a lot of people that a lot of people like, Heck, I've even heard that Nami Amuro is a fourth Italian. So would we have Nami Amuro as we have her? I mean, would we have Halle Berry? Would we have Barack Obama? Would we have Maggie Q? Would we have, say, Christina Aguilera? Shamara Moore? Would we have, I already mentioned Barack Obama. Who else? It's like, there's so many different celebrities out there who are of mixed, race heritage, and they're kind of like at the forefront of it, really, of, progressing race relations and, showing that, hey, they're not, mixed up in the head because they're of different races, But yeah, I guess I'll just put it out there. Who's your favorite mixed race celebrity? But I think I mentioned pretty much all that I have to mention, To sum it up, hey, feel free to get your swirl on. Just make sure that, I guess, you do it in a respectful way and you're not bashing other people in the process. I think that's the issue with it too. But ultimately, it's your choice. There's no laws against it at this point in history, at least in my country. But there were at one point in my country. I think up until like the late 60s, like it was illegal for people of different races to, have children together and to get married. But again, but what do you think about the topic? Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. The feedback and the support is extremely appreciated. Until the next lyrical analysis video, adios and goodbye for now.